coming to the stage, our next storyteller, Jennifer.
Hi. I kind of feel like after some of the stories, mine is going to seem really, really wholesome, but I'll let you be the judge. Thank you. So the summer I was 14 and my sister was 16, we saved our money up and we got our first real bicycles. They were 10 speeds. And I remember going to the bike store and picking it up and then riding it home. And as I'm riding home, I'm thinking about all these great adventures I'm going to have on my bike. And I get home, and my father said, well, you know, there are going to be rules about your bike. So rule 1 was we were supposed to stay within a 3-block radius of our house. And rule 2 was that if we wanted to go out and ride our bikes, we had to be wearing slacks. And it wasn't pants, it wasn't trousers, it wasn't jeans, slacks, which is what every teenage girl in 1982 wanted to be wearing. So, and I don't know if any of you have ever been to Indiana in the summer, but it is hot. It is hot and muggy. It is not a place to be wearing slacks, least of all wearing slacks while you're riding a bike. So we had this long negotiation with our father, and we finally got him to agree that we wear shorts while riding our bicycles and doing other sporting activities, but they had to be 6 inches long. I'm like, okay, super stylish again, but okay, we can live with that. And as for the other rule, like any self-respecting teenagers, we found workarounds. And in the summer, my mom would kind of look the other way, and as long as we were back in the house, clad in appropriate leg wear, by the time my father got home from work, we could kind of do what we wanted. And I always wondered, didn't he wonder? We were always sweaty, and we always had tans, but somehow he kind of bought it that we were just, sitting home in our pants, trousers, slacks, doing needlepoint or something. Or maybe he thought we just rode in laps, the 3-block radius around our house all day. So anyway, after we had our bikes, we decided we were going to try for the holy grail of unauthorized out-of-town bike trips. We were going to ride our bikes to Indiana Beach. Indiana Beach was this boardwalk amusement park about 25 miles from our house. And so on the appointed day, we got up bright and early, and the minute my father's car was out of the driveway, we were on our bikes and we were pedaling west towards Monticello, which is where Indiana Beach was. And I don't remember a whole lot about the trip there, except that it was hot and trucks kept whooshing by. And then we got there and, we strutted around in our super cool, baggy 6-inch shorts and showed off our, hot biker legs. And went on rides and stuff, and then we came home. Well, we kind of pushed it on the way home. We were having so much fun, we didn't leave probably when we should have. And about halfway home, around Idyville, Indiana, which is a town of about 500, we realized we needed to stop and call home. And we had $1 because we're dumb kids and we spent all our money, and we didn't even have that much to begin with. And for people who weren't old enough in the 80s to remember how phones work, you had to actually know the number, and then you had to punch it into the phone. So, but you'd kind of get this muscle memory for people you called a lot. So I go to the payphone, I put our $1 in the payphone, and I'm thinking that I'm going to call my mom and I'm going to say we're at Kim's house and we're going to stay for dinner. And I punch in a number, and Kim answers the phone. And I realized that my muscle memory had dialed Kim's number instead of my mother's number. So then I had to ask Kim to call my mother and say, hey, Jennifer and Megan are at my house and they're going to stay for dinner, but for some reason they can't call you right now. It's totally plausible, right? So, but we did the best we could. And we get back on the road, and suddenly we realized we didn't have any energy, and we didn't know what to do because we had no money because our last quarter just went into the phone. So we went into this place. The sign said Idyville Gas and Grocery, but I think it should have said Idyville Gas, Grocery, and House of Ill Repute, because when we walked in, this woman came out of the back room, and she had on these skin-tight satin pants, these high stiletto sandals, and this really, really intense, vibrant, heavy makeup. And I thought, trucking route, maybe. But if she was a hooker with a heart of gold. Because when we told her we were trying to get back to Logansport on our bikes and we didn't have any money, she told us that we could go take as many sugar cubes as we wanted from the coffee pot area where they had them out for people buying coffee. And so thus fortified with our free sugar cubes, we actually just burned up the road back to Logansport. And when we got in the house, my mom pulled us aside and she said, I don't know where you were. I covered for you. Don't ever do it again. And so we solemnly promised that we would never do it again. And then, of course, the next chance we got, we did it again. And for many times for the next summers until my sister moved away. Thank you.